Hello everybody and welcome back for Game 2 of Nautorious Nauts versus BarbieQ. In Game 1 we saw Nautorious Nauts take the lead, take those turrets down, and eventually take the core, and hopefully for BarbieQ they'll be able to combat that this game with a different variety in the picks and bans. Nada, take us through the picks and bans for Game 2.
Rightio. Now BarbieQ is on their feet, so they are once again going to get the first pick. And what they are banning again is that Penny Fox, so they are still afraid of Penny, they are still afraid of Leica, and they are willing to use their first ban to just get rid of it. Now the response ban will be Scoldier, so once again bans are Penny and Scoldier, getting rid of both Leica's Penny and Scoldier's, Fudge's Scoldier. That's not the other way around. So two of their main Nauts are now out of play. First pick this time going to BarbieQ, so we're going to see Nibs banned and out of the question. So no more Ash on that Nibs, and that's going to force Nautorious to go in a whole other way in regards to comps. So the response will be Coco and Scoop. So for the Coco Scoop pick, that's sort of this heavy denial, lots of burst, slow CC, very powerful. So that's very good double pick. Response to that will be Froggy G and Sentry. So we're looking at that Sentry Nibs comp with the additional Frog to sort of CC and get that extra damage in there. Really powerful comp BarbieQ is lined up here. The last response will be Vinny and Spike. So Nautorious running with Vinny and Spike, Scoop and Coco for that hefty burst as well as CC lockdown. Silence, snare, slow, you name it, they got it. And we're fighting that sort of gravity lockdown with a stun from Frog into BarbieQ Nibs. It's going to be interesting to see. We're on Serona, so Oz, if you're ready, I'd like to give you the countdown.
Let's do it. Let's get it on.
Let's get it on in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's jam. Alright, so once again on Serona, waiting for those first pickups, and we're looking at the similar setup as the last game, where Frog piggies to boots for that added mobility. Kind of a pick I'm not too sure about because Coco and DOT.
Yeah, man, we're going to get right into it. Ash taking a lot of damage. We now see the Nibs on BarbieQ as opposed to Nautorious Nauts.
Okay, well, I think that's going to factor in a lot. That's a whole lot of damage being switched, but then again, Coco switched hand as well. So we're looking at a whole new match, a whole new setup, a whole new set of possibilities.
And with that whole new set of possibilities, a Sentry getting tossed into the mix here. Bet's going to get stuck into that black hole. It's a one charge, not going to deal much. He's going to get hit with a ball and a hammer, teleport out, and get some health on top.
Alright, we're sort of testing the waters here. No one really wants to go into mid without their set of upgrades. No one really has any direction. It's very multi-purpose this early in the game and not very specific, meaning that one specific thing will not really be done well until later in the game where people get their upgrades and we're sort of ready to narrow down a bit.
I think the word you're looking for is organized chaos.
Oh yeah,
in a sense. Ash going to get caught in a huge black hole, and Fudge will be able to pick up Ash in the process. That is going to be the first kill of the second game of Nautorious Nauts vs. BarbieQ.
Oh yes, we're looking at that. I think we may even see the game sort of mirror itself, where BarbieQ does well early game, and as soon as they lose momentum, they'll be forced back into that hard to defend place, because once again they do actually have a better defending comp, but they are very aggressive minded.
And as you said, aggressive minded there. Hanky is going to get picked up as well as Makis by a nice dash by Betts. Betts will pick up a double kill in the process, leaving Fudge to be a sole Nibs defending against all that is Nautorious Nauts. And Fudge is going to go down. That is going to be an almost team wipe. Almost. 2 minutes
Almost a
and
team
20
wipe, but
seconds.
a delayed triple kill to Betts.
A delayed triple, and that is going to be a lot of turret damage coming out as Hanky and Makis are going to be trying to get on map, only to see their turret at half health at 2 minutes and 40 seconds in. Less than half health. That's about a quarter.
Well, I think they as well as I have activated the hype drive, and they are now ready to take BarbieQ by storm. They want to make sure they get this. But I think BarbieQ can really deny what they're trying to do with that sort of hammer initiate to sort of Vinny lockdown burst. And with the black hole, I think they can really do something about it, because they can shoot it into the cloud that is inevitably going to be silenced.
The cloud that will inevitably be silenced will unfortunately not be able to come out until later on in the game. But until then, we're going to see Leica taking a lot of damage, and Make is trying to get into the fray, deal decent amount of damage, and Betts will be forced to fight off Makis and the entirety of BBQ, as he's going to go in on Makis and will pick up a kill. Betts will take out a fully charged sentry.
Oh.
A very good play by Betts.
Indeed. And that hanky dash, just avoiding the DOT, dashing for the HP, not taking any chances.
And we're going to see this top lane now be assaulted by all that is Nautorious Nauts, as Ash and Leica are going to be on bottom. Hanky looking to proceed into that bottom section. A teleport back by Betts to pick up some upgrades. I'm interested to see what he's going to pick up. And damage, that chrome file.
Oh yeah, and add that in with the goldfish, and you're set for what, 650 damage? That's quite the deal. Now he just needs to get back on the solar tags and get those 150 solar in order to sustain that high damage. But the solar clouds, that's what that's for.
And the burst in not going to be pushed in. Betts is going to look for a pickup now, as he is going to try and defend Ash at the same time. Hanky up top in the top lane with Fudge. Both at half health versus Leica and Betts, and Ash is going to come back in. The hammer landing. They're going in for the kill. Not able to make anything of it. He's a little bit too far back. Hanky able to be very nimble and avoid all damage that would have been dealt. And Betts going to use his dash, not hit anybody in the process, but thwart off Fudge and make him use his fire. So he will not be able to use that for a few seconds. And that's a strategy that I want to talk about a little bit, is baiting the use of abilities. Tell us a little bit about that, Nata.
Well, lots of characters rely on being able to get out when they put themselves in a bad situation. This would be, for instance, Vinny and Frog. I suppose Nibs. They really are in a bad spot when they use their abilities, so they have to have a way to get out. And what Frog can do is go real close and try to make people use their abilities so that they have nothing to fight back with. As soon as they do that, he can launch the full amount of his burst.
And as we saw there, the full amount of burst being put out by Nautorious Nauts. They baited the Nibs. They sent one character down into that midsection, baited the fire. Betts is going to be taking a lot of damage. Betts is actually going to go down in the process. But as I said earlier, they baited the Nibs into using the fire and making her immobile, and they capitalized on the situation.
Yeah, and when things go that fast, you can't rely on the orb to get out. Plus, with so much going on, and
Make is dealing a lot of damage. Ash taking a lot of damage in the process. Ash will be forced to go back, as Betts is now on the drop pod. He will be coming down shortly. As we see BBQ kind of proceed and want to set something up. This is the time they should be pushing in. It's only Leica in the midsection. That was a quick kill that they could have had if they all collapsed on them.
And now we're seeing the differences from last game, whereas the Coco last game opted for AA. Here, knowing that Nibs is a character that they want you to get close to, going for a Blaze Ball and Blaze damage. So longer range on that and a bit of distance as well as CC to sort of create the distance between the two teams. Very smart pick.
And a nice black hole coming out. Betts is going to be taking a lot of damage in the process. Fudge looking to pick up Betts. Betts will be able to escape from the safety that is secured by Ash and Leica, playing a zoning defense, allowing him safety.
And I think we're going to see a Silence Cloud come out real soon now after the full damage. Maybe get the Seahorse, but I'd rather say Silence at this point, because that way you can deny Nibs as well as Sentry and really get close, and that's where you can start building your AA as soon as you have that Silence.
And Dead Seahorse, you know, it's a great upgrade. Then you have to change your playstyle to a vertical dash.
You definitely have. The vertical dash requires you to make sure to... Well, it's a way to aim that allows you to not aim for two dashes and sort of combine the two into one. And what we mean by that is trying to dash in a way that will not move you anywhere, and leaving Vinny to sort of stall in a vertical manner and stacking the two dashes from the Seahorse head on top of each other, doing the immense damage of, what, 940? Something in the lines of that.
980.
980. That is correct. That is a lot of damage.
And a lot of damage, as we said before. Not a lot of damage coming out of that black hole. Fudge, Henke, and Makis are shutting themselves up as Henke's going to go right into the fray, deal a lot of damage to Ash in the process, but nobody's going to be there to pick it up. But unfortunately for Ash, BBQ Fudge is there. He will be able to pick up that kill.
And what we saw with Frog was actually exactly what we were talking about, trying to bait the abilities. Nautorious, although knowing what is up, and forcing Henke to use his dash in order to get out.
And Makis will be duking it out with Betts and Leica in this top lane. Fudge waiting to set something up, going to be the safety, using the teleport very admirably, being able to get out of there. And the black hole is going to secure safety for him. And Henke will proceed to go and clear up the bottom lane. Makis is going to be in a bad situation as he's going to get bounced by the ball into the turret, into a dive by Betts. And looking at this kill count, 7-3.
Oh, it's not looking good for BBQ. The solar difference, although not super significant right now, is rising and will play in later. If this keeps happening, BarbieQ is really going to look for a heavy defense.
And I have to give it up to Nautorious Nauts. They've been baiting the abilities of BBQ very well. And there's the first hurt, and there's a dive kill as Fudge is going to go down to Betts in the process. And we're going to see this mid lane kind of come back as Betts and Leica are going to teleport back. Ash will teleport back, or not. Ash will continue to get into the fray. Makis hunting down Ash. Ash is going to remain on map to either clear and set something up for her teammates. Now that Leica and Betts are back, I believe Ash should be teleporting back. Makis, Henke in the bottom lane. Betts going in for the dash. We're going to see a nice black hole land and hit Ash. Ash is going to have safety from both of her teammates, Leica and Betts.
Well, with Coco having, already bought the DOT and the rest of her upgrades are a bit more expensive, so having her wait with going back a little bit could actually work out for them. And you can see the Silence Cloud here doing magic for Vinny, as well as the Crab Burgers providing for that little extra passive heal when people are in the cloud.
The passive heal that is his regen, it will be very powerful in the long run for him.
It will.
Clearing of the bottom lane, and we're going to see a bottom push occur for Nautorious Nauts as that bottom turret has about 2.5 bars left compared to the 2 turrets for Nautorious Nauts, which are basically full. A nice black hole coming out, and Bats is going to pick up Fudge in the process. We're going to see Henke on the run, Makis nowhere to be found, picking up some upgrades, teleporting out, and he will have his safety.
Now, I want to talk a bit about the teleport that Sentry has set up in mid, because he's basically he's teleport less right now, and he cannot set up, for instance, like teleburst build because his teleport is in the middle right now, and that is a very dangerous spot to have when the enemy has map control.
And Ash is going to be duking it out with Henke up top. Ash going to retreat back. And we go back to the clearing phase. That is Nauts gaining that solar, farming up. Leica looking to set something up for his team. Betts is now in the drop pod. He will be coming down with Vengeance, trying to pick up a kill from his last death, but he is 7-2 at the moment.
Oh, and you can really feel the sort of the laid-back attitude that Nautorious has now gotten themselves into, where they don't rush for the kills and they sort of let that happen, whereas BarbieQ go in much more aggressively.
And Henke is going to be picked up by Ash in the process. And now's the time where Nautorious Nauts needs to push forward. They are going to be looking to push forward. And look at that health bar on Nibs. There's no health bar on Nibs.
Well, that's a good teleport out then.
And Makis will be forced to defend against Nautorious Nauts. Leica being just a menace in that top. Launching those hammers down. As we see Betts clearing up this bottom lane, Ash is going to be picking up some Particle Hands upgrades as well as Metacam.
Alright, so it's hard to say what BarbieQ should be doing right now, because they are really in a tough spot. They do not have they don't have enough damage at all to sort of sustain or resist, defend against. There's just too much damage in play, and I really think that they have to be smart in order to outplay this.
And they're trying to outplay it as we see Fudge going in and Makus using the black hole, hitting all 3 members of Nautorious Nauts. But Fudge dealt a lot of damage across all 3 members of Nautorious Nauts, but Nautorious Nauts collapsing in on Makus. Makus will be taken out in the process, leaving Fudge and Henke to defend against them once more. Leica using his abilities, and look at how much damage Betts is putting out with his dashes. He's going to get straight into it, silence the nibs out of the fire, and will pick up some HP and continue to clear as all 3 members of Nautorious Nauts are now going to proceed into the final turret area, trying to pick up some of that good old turret damage. And they're going back into that mid lane. That teleport is going to remain there as a tele-ward. Ash going to pick up that bottom health, and it seems that BarbieQ is looking to pick something up as we're going to see Leica drop down and try and land that double hammer. He does land the double hammer, and the spike dive coming out, hitting both Makus and Fudge. Fudge activating his fire, his fire, and he will be able to deal some damage to Betts, but Betts is going to be looking to pick someone up in the process. A good teleport out.
All right, well, now the... Unfortunately, the hammer says no, no.
The hammer said no, and Makus goes down in the process. The hammer not able to pick anything up, but look at that amount of damage that Ash took in the process. Oh. Ash may be going down to DOT, and she does go down, as that is going to be a DOT kill for Fudge, and Fudge looking to set something up with Henke as he's going to go in, try and land his fire, but that safety from the hammer being put out by Leica is going to allow Betts to escape with about 1.5 bars of health.
Well, now is really the time for BarbieQ to sort of move the lanes up. This is where they need to clear, need to gain some footing here, because otherwise I think what's going to happen is Nautorious is going in with full strength and just take it down, really.
And that damage being output by Betts, 1/2 bar, half health gone on the frog just from one dash. Betts dropping a silence cut, looking to set something up as he'll be duking it out with Fudge, and Makus will be duking it out with Leica in the same process. Betts is now hunting down Fudge. Fudge is trying to escape. Ash coming in with the blaze, not able to make anything of it, as we see Betts trying to be the forerunner and front line of Nautorious Nauts with his dashes, as he is 8-2 in this match.
Well, he is definitely doing his part, and I'm actually surprised to not see the last damage upgrade on Dash, because he's been a menace with it.
And now we see the damage being output once more. Fudge going in, he's going to teleport out, and Henke is going to be the only member of BarbieQ on map to try and escape, but he is a frog. He will be able to do so unless Betts meets him up top, and will try to set something up with a dash, but he took a lot of damage from that frog, and he'll be forced to go back.
That was a nice response by Frog, definitely.
And now Ash duking it out with Fudge. Fudge avoiding the hammer from Leica. Henke trying to set something up in the last part of this. And Fudge will be teleporting back in the midsection. Very cheeky teleport, as Makus is now the only member of BarbieQ to be defending against that which is Nautorious Nauts, using his teleport, and he's able to get out of the fray.
That was a good one. That is a proper use of Sentry Teleport when you're not telebursting.
And the black hole once again. Betts is body blocking Makus extremely well, able to pick up the kill, and it seems Betts has increased his kills 9-2 on his KD. Makus looking to set something up, and Makus getting completely shut down over there, as well as Henke, as Henke goes down to that which is Nautorious Nauts. They've been extremely well. Betts dropping the Silence Cloud, noticing Henke goes in, and was able to drop that very quickly.
Yeah, their War Machine is running high, and I don't think there's any way that Fudge can defend against this.
Fudge is not going to be able to defend against this, but he will go straight into it, dealing a lot of damage across the board, and Scoop may be going down to DOT, but he does manage to go down to DOT. Fudge picks up Leica in the process, so he did get a 1-for-1 and kind of pushed back Nautorious Nauts a little bit. Betts looking to set something up again, but now Henke is in the mix along with Makus. Ash landing the nice Cocoa Ball. Betts will be retreating back as we see Henke and Makus try and clear up these lanes quickly to try and reset the map.
Oh, well, that's going to be tough. That's really going to be a tough thing. They have so much to catch up on if they want to get the back in. They need the 2 turrets, and they need them soon.
And Betts diving in once again, dropping the Silence Cloud, nullifying any ability use on BBQ.
And that's exactly what
there we see it once more. Makis is going to go down to Ash, and Hanky and Fudge will be forced to defend once again. The hammer picking up Fudge in the process, and this should be Nautorious Nauts proceeding to the core. Betts is going to be duking it out with Hanky in the process, but he will not be able to deal enough damage to pick him up as Hanky picks up that health bar in the process. But look at the core. That core is going down really quick. I don't think Hanky's going to be able to do anything of it, and that will be the game.
Nautorious takes the game 2-0.
Nautorious takes the game and secures their victory, setting them at 2-0. Nata, let's take a look at these builds. Tell us what could have went differently.
Well, for starters, I think Sentry's AA choice was good to an extent, but he sort of needed to branch into something more to sort of synergize better with his team. I think focusing maybe a bit more on Black Hole, get some Teleburst in there, could have really helped the diversity and sort of fight back against this heavy dash, get some silence in there, you know, counter silence, fight fire with fire, you know, that sort of stuff. Speaking of fire, Nibs did the right thing, kind of, I felt a bit out of position sometimes, but definitely did what she was designed to do in their comp. As for Frog, he did it, he tried, but he was being out solared. I don't know. He was outpowered, outgunned, in the sense that Frog does well when he has a slight advantage, and with that much HP going about, it's really hard for Frog to do anything significant. On the side of Nautorious, we are seeing that hefty burst coming out of Betts, followed up by a nasty silence, just tear through anything or any kind of resemblance to what is resistance coming out of BBQ. Absolutely well played, good Vinny plays. As for Ash, the pretty meta Blaze Ball, Blaze Damage build works very well, especially when you don't want to be up in the face. And for Scoop, we have our lovely Speedometer build without Spoonman this time, might I add.
But they did take victory against BBQ.
They did indeed.
And that being said, we are going to take a quick break, but before we do so, it's going to be that time, everybody. Pay attention in the Twitch chat, as a Twitch mod will be giving instructions on how to win yourself a Robo Scoop. That is right. Pay attention to the Twitch chat. You'll be given instructions on how to win a Robo Scoop. We will be right back, and we will be right back with our second series of the day.